The banquet hall of the Kane residence was a monument to my mother-in-law's ego. Every chandelier dripped with crystals imported from Prague. Every table centerpiece overflowed with white orchids that had been flown in from Singapore at 6 a.m. this morning. The walls, draped in champagne-colored silk, were lined with enlarged photographs of Martha Kane's face, her at charity events, her accepting a Philanthropist of the Year plaque, her shaking hands with minor celebrities who'd been paid appearance fees. The guests, 97 of them, were seated at round tables covered in gold-rimmed china, sipping champagne they'd been told cost $300 a bottle. I knew the actual cost was $42. I bought it myself at Costco because Martha had blown the beverage budget on her custom Swarovski-encrusted 60 throne chair that was currently positioned at the head of the room like a coronation suite. My husband Marcus was standing beside that throne, tapping a microphone. He looked handsome in his Tom Ford tuxedo, the one I'd stayed up until midnight steaming because his mother had fired our housekeeper last week for looking at her funny. His smile was the smile of a man who believed he was the center of the universe, and why wouldn't he? The universe had been rearranging itself around Marcus Kane for 34 years. "Ladies and gentlemen," Marcus said, his voice booming through the speakers, "thank you all for coming to celebrate the most incredible woman I've ever known, my mother, Martha Kane." Applause thundered. Martha beamed from her throne. One hand pressed theatrically to her chest. She was wearing a red sequin gown that made her look like a disco ball wrapped in aging skin, and her hair had been teased into a gravity-defying updo by a stylist who charged $800 an hour. I was seated at the very back of the room, at the table labeled Family Overflow. Meet Marcus's wife of 6 years, the woman who had funded this entire house, this entire party, this entire life. Overflow. I wore a simple navy dress I'd bought at Nordstrom Rack 2 years ago. Martha had forgotten to tell me the dress code was black tie, and when I come downstairs in my gown, she looked at me with that particular expression she reserved for my existence and said, "Oh, you're wearing that. Well, it's too late to change now, I suppose." "My mother," Marcus continued, "has dedicated her life to this family. She raised me and my sister Tiffany as a single mother after our father passed. She sacrificed everything for us. And tonight, on her 60th birthday, I want to honor her with an announcement." Something cold slithered down my spine. I knew that tone. Marcus used it when he was about to ask for something enormous and pretend it was a gift. As many of you know, the Kane name has become synonymous with innovation in smart home technology. Our company, Kane Smart, is poised to go public next quarter. We're projected to be a unicorn within 18 months, and none of it would have been possible without the support of my family. He didn't look at me, not once. He hadn't looked at me all night. "Which is why I've decided," Marcus said, his smile widening, "to make a change that honors both my past and my future. Mom, this is for you." The door at the side of the banquet hall opened, and in walked my sister-in-law Tiffany, flanked by a woman I'd never seen before. She was young, maybe 25, with glossy chestnut hair and a baby blue dress that clung to a very obvious, very deliberate baby bump. The room murmured. I heard the word pregnant ripple through the tables. Tiffany took the microphone from Marcus. "Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tiffany, Marcus's sister, and this is my best friend, Amanda. Amanda and Marcus have an announcement of their own." Marcus reached out and took Amanda's hand. He pulled her onto the small stage, his arm sliding around her waist, his palm resting on her belly with the possessive tenderness of a man claiming ownership. "Amanda and I are having a baby," Marcus said. "A son, the Kane heir." The room exploded. Applause. Cheers. Someone popped a champagne cork. I saw Martha wiping away theatrical tears, her other hand clutching her throne like a queen receiving tribute. I sat frozen, my hands in my lap, my heart beating so hard I could feel it in my teeth. "Of course," Marcus continued, his voice turning sober. "This means that some difficult decisions have to be made. My current wife, Eleanor, has been unable to provide me with a child after 6 years of marriage. She has also, frankly, never been able to fit into this family the way I'd hoped. She's a nice woman, but she doesn't have the pedigree that the Kane name deserves. Pedigree, like I was a dog, like I hadn't graduated summa cum laude from MIT. Like I hadn't single-handedly designed the smart home interface that had made Kane Smart a company worth discussing in the first place. So tonight, Marcus said, "I'm formally announcing my divorce from Eleanor. The papers have already been filed, and as soon as they're finalized, Amanda and I will be married. My mother will finally have the daughter-in-law she deserves." Martha stood up from her throne, her arms outstretched. "Amanda, come here, sweetheart. Welcome to the family." Amanda waddled over and bent down to embrace Martha. The cameras I'd paid for, the ones I'd hired to capture Martha's elegant birthday celebration, clicked and flashed, documenting the heartwarming moment. No one looked at me. No one. I was seated at the overflow table in my clearance rack dress, watching my husband of 6 years announce his replacement in front of 97 people. And for a long, suspended moment, I felt nothing at all, just a vast, echoing emptiness where my heart used to be. Then Tiffany grabbed the microphone again. "Oh, Eleanor, don't look so shocked. We all knew this was coming, Dimeen, honestly. What did you bring to this family? You can't have kids. You have no money. Your parents are dead. You don't even have a real job, just some little freelance design thing you do on your laptop. Marcus has been carrying you for years. It's time to let him go." Little freelance design thing. The words bounced around my skull like a pinball, and my little freelance design thing had generated the patents that Kane Smart's entire product line was built on. My little freelance design thing had won the International Architectural Innovation Award 3 times under a pseudonym. My little freelance design thing had made me, under my professional name, one of the most sought-after smart building consultants on the planet. But they didn't know that, because I never told them, because Marcus, when we met 7 years ago, had asked me to downplay my career. "My mother is traditional," he'd said. "She thinks women should be supportive, not competitive. If she knew how successful you were, she'd feel threatened. Just let me be the provider for now." And I'd hidden my awards. I'd publish my work under the name E.K. Vance instead of Eleanor Kane. I'd let my husband take credit for my designs, my patents, my genius, because I loved him. Because I believed that marriage meant sacrifice. Because I thought that if I was generous enough, patient enough, invisible enough, eventually they would love me back. They didn't. I have something to say. My voice came out quiet, but it cut through the chatter like a blade through silk. The room went still. Marcus turned, his expression sliding from triumph to irritation. "Eleanor, this isn't the time or the place. We'll discuss this settlement privately. Please don't make a scene." A scene. I stood up, and my chair scraped against the marble floor with a sound like a scream. "You just announced your mistress's pregnancy at your mother's birthday party, called me infertile, and told 97 people you're divorcing me. And you're asking me not to make a scene?" Amanda pressed herself closer to Marcus, her hand protecting her belly. "Eleanor, I understand you're upset. I would be too. But this is what's best for Marcus. He needs a real partner. Someone who can support his vision." His vision. I almost laughed. "Amanda, do you even know what Kane Smart's flagship product does? Can you explain the adaptive thermal interface to me? Can you diagram the neural network occupancy sensors? Can you tell me who holds the patent on the energy reclamation algorithm that makes the whole system work?" Amanda blinked. "Well, I mean, Marcus does. Marcus is the genius. He's the founder." I turned to Marcus. "Is that what you told her? That you're the founder? That you invented the adaptive interface? That the neural sensors were your idea?" Marcus's jaw tightened. "Eleanor, we're not doing this right now. Answer the question, Marcus. Who invented the Kane Smart core technology?" Silence. The guests were frozen. Champagne flutes suspended midair. Phones lifted. Martha was staring at me with undisguised hatred. Tiffany was smirking. But Marcus. Marcus looked like a man who had just realized he'd locked his keys inside a burning car. "I did," I said into the silence. "I invented it. Every single patent that Kane Smart is built on, the adaptive thermal system, the neural occupancy grid, the energy reclamation algorithm, was registered by me under my professional name before we even met. I licensed those patents to Kane Smart for $1 a year because you asked me to, because you said it would be our little secret. Because you promised me that once the company was stable, you'd give me credit. But you never did. You took my work, my money, my reputation, and you called it your vision." Martha erupted from her throne. "That is a lie. You pathetic little gold digger. My son built this company with his bare hands. You've done nothing but spend his money and mope around my house feeling sorry for yourself." "Your house?" I tilted my head. "Martha, who do you think owns this house?" "My son owns it. It's in the family trust. No, I reached into my clutch and pulled out my phone. It's in a trust, yes, but it's not your family's trust, it's mine. I bought this house 4 years ago with money I earned from the Reitman Tower Commission. You remember the Reitman Tower, Marcus? The skyscraper in Dubai, that one Architectural Digest building of the decade. The one you bragged about at the country club, claiming you'd consulted on the design? Marcus's face had gone the color of spoiled milk. Eleanor, whatever you think you're doing. I'm doing what I should have done 6 years ago. I'm telling the truth. I pulled up a document on my phone and held it up, even though no one could read it from a distance. This is the deed to this property. The owner is listed as the Vance Trust. The sole trustee of the Vance Trust is Eleanor Vance, my maiden name, the Eleanor Vance. The one who, as of last month, was ranked the 7th highest earning architect in the world by Forbes. Gasps rippled through the room. Someone dropped a champagne flute. It shattered against the marble floor like a punctuation mark. Tiffany's smirk had vanished. That's impossible. You can't be. Forbes doesn't rank architects. You're making this up. Google it, I said. Go ahead. Pull out your phones and search E.K. Vance Architect.
Go on.
I'll wait. 97 people pulled out their phones. The room filled with the soft glow of screens, the tapping of thumbs, the dawning murmurs of recognition. Winner of the Pritzker Architecture Prize. Someone read aloud. Founder of Vance Atelier, the most valuable private design firm in North America. Signed the contract for the New World Trade Center Memorial last year. Estimated net worth. The voice trailed off. $4 billion. $4 billion. The number hung in the air like a thunderclap. Marcus staggered backward. His hand fell away from Amanda's waist. His face was cycling through emotions I'd never seen on him before. Confusion, disbelief, and then something that looked almost like terror. Eleanor, he whispered. Eleanor, wait. We can talk about this. You don't have to. This doesn't have to be public. We can work something out. Work something out? I stepped out from behind the table and walked toward the stage. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. You mean like we worked out the patent licensing? You mean like we worked out the house deed? You mean like we worked out the divorce papers you filed without telling me, claiming half of assets that don't belong to you? Martha was shaking her head violently, her updo wobbling. No, this is a trick. My son is the genius. My son is the billionaire. You're nothing. You're nobody. You're just a barren little. Finish that sentence, I said softly, and I will sue you for defamation in every jurisdiction where I hold a law license, which, in case you're wondering, is 3. Martha's mouth snapped shut. I turned to face the crowd. For 6 years, I have been the silent engine behind this family's entire existence. I designed the technology that built Marcus's company. I bought the house his mother lives in. I paid for the party his sister just used to humiliate me. I funded the lifestyle that let them all pretend they were self-made. And tonight, they decided to throw me away like garbage because I couldn't give them a son. My voice echoed off the gilded walls. Do you know why I couldn't have a child? I asked, and the room went very quiet. 2 years into our marriage, I got pregnant. I was so happy, I thought. Finally, they'll accept me. Finally, I'll be part of the family, I told Martha first, because Marcus was traveling, and Martha said, don't get too excited. You'll probably miscarry. Bad stock usually does. Martha blanched. I never said that. You said it in my kitchen, over morning coffee, with your hands wrapped around a mug I'd brought back from a conference in Tokyo. And then you asked me to carry a heavy box of decorations up from the basement. You insisted. You said a little exercise wouldn't hurt. I carried the box. I started bleeding that night. I lost the baby in the emergency room while my husband was at a networking dinner that I later found out was a date with his ex-girlfriend. The same ex-girlfriend who just walked through that door. Tears were streaming down my face, but my voice never wavered. I hadn't cried about this in years. I hadn't let myself. But tonight, I let the tears come. Let them see. Let all of them see exactly what they'd done. Amanda had gone pale. Marcus, you told me she couldn't get pregnant because of a genetic condition. You never said. Shut up, Amanda, Marcus snapped. No, you shut up. Amanda pulled away from him, her hands cupping her belly. You told me she was abusive. You told me she was lazy. You told me the company was yours. All of it yours. Was any of it true? Marcus didn't answer. I answered for him. None of it. The company is mine. The house is mine. The patents are mine. The money is mine. And as of right now, so is my freedom. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I'd been saving for a moment, exactly like this one. It rang once. Hello, Mr. Delacroix. It's Kid okay? Vance, did I need you to send the legal team to my residence immediately? Yes, the full team. We have a patent revocation to file, a trust dissolution to initiate, and a lawsuit to draft. Oh, and please send someone from the property management office. The current occupants will need to be escorted off the premises. Marcus lunged forward. Eleanor, you can't do this. If you revoke the patents, the company collapses. Hundreds of people will lose their jobs. You'll be destroying everything I've built. You've built. I looked at him. This man I had loved. This man I had carried. This man who had stood on a stage and called me infertile in front of 97 strangers. Marcus, you haven't built anything. You just borrowed what I built and put your name on it, and now I'm taking my name back. The doors at the back of the banquet hall opened. A team of men and women in dark suits walked in, carrying briefcases and tablets. Behind them, a uniformed security detail. MY security detail. The one I put on retainer 6 months ago, just in case. Martha screamed. Actually screamed. You can't throw me out of my own house. This is my home. I'm a 60-year-old woman. I have nowhere to go. You have Tiffany, I said. I'm sure she can put you up. Oh, wait. Tiffany lives in an apartment that I co-signed the lease for. I'll be calling the landlord tomorrow to have my name removed. So you might want to start packing, Tiffany. Tiffany's face crumpled. You monster. You cold, heartless monster. After everything we did for you. Everything you did for me. I laughed, and it was the first real laugh I'd allowed myself in 6 years. You humiliated me. You isolated me. You stole my work and mocked my grief, and treated me like a servant in my own home, and you think I owe you gratitude. I turned to Marcus, who was standing frozen on the stage, Amanda shrinking away from him, Martha sobbing behind him, 97 guests watching with their phones out and their mouths open. The divorce papers you filed? I said. I'm counter-dash filing to MY lawyers will be in touch. And just so we're clear, you signed a prenuptial agreement 6 years ago. You probably don't remember it. You were drunk at the rehearsal dinner, and you said it didn't matter because you'd never have anything worth protecting. But I was sober. And the agreement you signed states that in the event of divorce, all assets held by the Vance Trust remain solely under my control. You will walk away from this marriage with exactly nothing. No house, and oh company, and oh patents, and oh moneyed, and oh reputation. I'll fight it, Marcus said, but his voice was shaking. I'll take you to court. I'll tell everyone you're lying. You'll lose, I said, because everything I've said tonight is verifiable. The patents are registered. The deeds are recorded. The financials are audited. You have nothing. You've always had nothing. You just never realized it until now. I turned to face the room one last time. Thank you all for coming to Martha's birthday party. I apologize that the evening has taken an unexpected turn. But since the party is being hosted in my home, with my champagne on my dime, I'm officially ending it. Please see yourselves out. Security will assist anyone who needs directions. The room erupted. Voices overlapping, chairs scraping, phones clicking. Amanda was crying now, clutching her belly, backing away from Marcus. Martha was shrieking at the lawyers. Tiffany was furiously typing on her phone, probably trying to figure out how to spin this on social media. And Marcus. Marcus was staring at me with an expression I had never seen on his face before. IT wasn't anger. IT wasn't even fear. It was the dawning, devastating realization that the woman he had dismissed, belittled, and betrayed for 6 years was the most powerful person he had ever met. Eleanor, he said, and his voice broke on my name. Please, I loved you. I did love you once. Please don't destroy me. I walked up to him, close enough to smell the champagne on his breath, close enough to see the panic in his eyes. You loved me, I repeated. No, Marcus. You loved what I could do for you. You loved the money I didn't know I was giving you. You loved the comfort, the status, the future you thought you could steal. That's not loved. That's predation. And I'm done being your prey. I stepped back. Security, please escort Mr. Kane and his family off the property. They have 30 minutes to collect their personal belongings. Anything left behind will be donated to charity. The The guards moved in. Marcus tried to push past them, shouting my name, but they were bigger and faster and utterly indifferent to his desperation. Martha collapsed into her throne chair, wailing. Tiffany grabbed a bottle of champagne and hurled it at the wall, spraying glass and golden liquid across the floor. Amanda stood frozen, her hands on her belly, her eyes wide and uncomprehending. I walked past all of them, out of the banquet hall, through the marble foyer, onto the front steps of the house that I had bought and paid for with my own 2 hands. The night air was cool and clean and tasted like freedom. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Asterisk, Ms. Vance, my name is Adrian Sterling. I'm the CEO of Sterling Global. I've been following your work for years and just saw the news about tonight. If you're ever interested in a partnership, my office is opened. AS asterisk. I smiled. Adrian Sterling, the man who owned half the commercial real estate in Manhattan, and my grandmother had mentioned him once, years ago, as someone she wanted me to meet. Apparently, the meeting was happening now. I typed back, asterisk, Mr. Sterling, I appreciate the offer, but I think I need to spend some time being my own partner first. However, if you're looking for someone to design your next headquarters, I know a firm, Kate Vance, asterisk. I pocketed my phone and looked up at the stars. Behind me, the house was filled with the sounds of a life collapsing, shouting, crying, the thud of suitcases being dragged downstairs. In front of me, the city glittered, full of possibility. 6 years. I had given them 6 years of my life. And in one night, I had taken it all back. Not revenge, reclamation. 3 months later, Kane Smart filed for bankruptcy. Without the patent licenses, their entire product line was legally unsellable. Marcus tried to launch a new company, but every investor he approached had already received a quiet phone call from the Vance Trust's legal team. He was unhirable, unfundable, and as I learned from a mutual acquaintance, living in a studio apartment in Queens, working as an Uber driver. Amanda had left him 6 weeks after the banquet. She'd given birth to a baby girl, not a boy, and had moved in with her parents. She'd sent me a letter, an actual handwritten letter, apologizing for everything. I burned it without reading past the first line. Martha was living with a cousin in Florida. Tiffany's influencer career had collapsed after someone leaked the video of her throwing the champagne bottle. The last I heard, she was working at a Sephora in New Jersey. And me, I was sitting in my new office at the top of Vance Tower, looking out at a city that finally knew my name and my real name. Kate Vance, architect, founder, billionaire, not anyone's wife. Not anyone's victim, not anyone's secret. My assistant buzzed. Ms. Vance, your grandmother is online too. She says she saw the Forbes cover and wants to know if you've considered running for office. I laughed. Tell her I'm already building my own city. Politics can wait. I turned back to the window, watching the sun set over the skyline, painting the glass towers in shades of gold and rose and burning orange. Somewhere out there, my ex-husband's family was learning what happened when you built your empire on someone else's foundation and then pulled the rug out from under her. She pulled the whole building down on top of you.